Dr. Phil. They say their dad's new wife
They've called her every name in the book.
is ruining their lives.
The girls think I'm a gold digger.
Do you think he owes you that money?
Are they spoiled brats,
You yelled and screamed at my producer.
I don't yell anymore.
So is my producer lying?
or is he a bad dad?
You're sick.
I think they're delusional.
He's delusional.
Boy, there's a lot of delusions around here. Let's do it.
Have a good show, everybody. Here we go.
I hate to see people suffering, and you've heard long enough.
Stand by, Dr. Phil.
Roll second. Take
I'm going to get you the help that you need.
In 5, 4,
This is going to be a changing day in your life.
Go, Dr. Phil.
How you doing? How are y'all? Well, a horrific car crash took the life of my first guest, Alan's beloved wife of 30 years. Now, their twin daughters were obviously devastated at the loss of their mother. That is until 6 months later, when their tears turned into anger at their father, who they say was already in love with a much younger woman who they also say wanted daddy's money. Now, Alan has barely spoken to his children or grandchildren for the last 10 years. Now, accusations of spending millions on his new wife and forgetting about his own daughters have caused this family to spiral out of control and out of contact. Take a look.
My twin daughters, Carol and Christine, are out of control and can be very evil. I do not know why my girls are so angry at me. I do not know. I met their mom, Louise, when I was around 26. We had twin daughters, Christine and Carol. Louise and I were married for almost 30 years. On May 12, 2002, Louise and I were in a serious car accident with 2 other couples, and Louise was killed instantly. I started to date about 6 months after Louise passed away. When I met Veronica, it was just kind of love at first sight. Christine and Carol liked Veronica at the beginning till I started mentioning marriage. And then the tide changed. The letters started coming. The nastiness started coming. My daughters have called me, you sperm donor, you shouldn't have been a father. They think Veronica is a waitress bimbo that's after my money. I am totally appalled and hurt by Christine and Carol's behavior. I believe that the twins' mom, Louise, would be rolling in a grave if she could see the way the twins treat their father. I wrote numerous letters to Dr. Phil because I want to help so bad. There's so much toxicity and so much dysfunction that I think this is my only hope.
Well, Alan, it's good to meet you. What's going on here? Why did these girls turn on you in this way? What's going on?
Well, the girls have always been difficult. I personally feel they're holding a lot of guilt from the relationship they had with their mom, especially near the end before their death.
Right.
I think it's just led up to a lot of anger. I don't think they've really resolved the grieving and the problems they've had. And
they're taking it out on you?
Absolutely, like the one you hurt the one you love, and it just hasn't stopped. It's just progressively through the years gotten worse and worse.
Well, did you run a red light here?
I do believe there might have been times I've been a little insensitive. I was going through my own grieving process, which I've never done before, but I can't think of anything else personally that I've done to hurt these girls.
Well, Carol and Christine say their dad is the one who's causing the problems here, and it all stems from how quickly he was able to move on after their mother died. Listen to this.
My dad is a shameful excuse for a father. I don't think my mom would be surprised by my dad's actions because she had said to us on numerous occasions, when I die, I'm leaving everything to you and your sister because I know your dad's gonna go find some bimbo. I think she knew my dad better than we thought she did. When my mom passed away, it was all about him. He started having a lot of parties at the house and drinking, and going out. He was like a guy that was like, yeah, I'm free, as opposed to someone that was actually grieving. I don't think things would be this way if Veronica weren't in the picture.
I never got a trusting feeling from Veronica. I just always felt like she was hiding something. I just felt like something was not right. And I'm pretty good with that kind of stuff. Veronica, I think, saw my dad at first, a guy with a little money that lived in a nice house, but she doesn't come from the same kind of caliber, so to speak.
Veronica saw a better life and wanted better things that she didn't have and took advantage of the opportunity.
I'm open to accepting Veronica, but I want her to also own up to the fact that it was wrong moving in my mom's house. It was wrong not wanting my father to have a relationship with kids that have just lost their mom. My dad definitely is a sociopath in a lot of ways. He'll never see anything wrong with himself.
My father needs to own up to the fact that he was not there for us, especially when our mother died. Before my dad wrote to Dr. Phil, I was fine with never talking to him again.
I really think if my mom were alive right now to see what has been done, she'd be disgusted, completely and utterly disgusted by the whole situation.
Well, Christine is here, and her twin sister Carol is joining us via Polycom today. Hello, Carol.
Hello, Dr. Phil.
What did he need to do that he didn't do? And Carol, jump in anytime.
I think that as far as looking out for us, that we just lost our mother, it was pretty much non-existent. All he did was pretty much care about himself.
Yeah, Carol, what do you think?
It's more what he hasn't done that is the hurtful part.
You hear what they're saying. You haven't seen Christine for 3 years, right?
Correct.
Have you missed her?
I miss her, yeah. I don't miss the toxic dysfunction
Yeah.
that we have in our relationship, and I think they're delusional. Honestly, that's my opinion.
You think they're delusional?
Totally.
How so?
Well, they have stories that aren't true. They say things that aren't true.
You were how old when your mother passed?
27.
I'm sorry for your loss, by the
Thank
way.
you.
It's always tough.
Thank
I've
you.
buried my mother, and I know that's not easy.
Yeah.
But you were grown
Yes.
and out in your own life, but
Yeah.
yet you wanted a vote in his. I'm not sure. I'm not sure I'm computing what it is you're saying was done wrong here.
It's not a vote. It's have respect for your children, no matter if they're 27 or not. It doesn't matter. The fact that you're supposed to be a father to them till the day you die.
Well, how was he not a father?
How is he not? You know what he said when the lady moved into my mother's house and we didn't know about it? I'm the father. I could do what I want. Yes, you can, but you also have respect for your kids. Like, at least tell us. At least let us know something.
Well, you knew
Yeah.
when she moved in.
No. My sister had to go there to pick up something, and she was moving in her stuff. That's how we found out.
I asked for their respect when I started dating. I said, please, your father's a single man now. Please understand. I always call when I go to your home, and I expect the same back, that I expect you to call my home and say, I'm coming over, Dad. Well, Veronica was just moving out of her house into a girlfriend's house, and her children's stuff was in my vehicle. Carol Ann had the key to my house.
It was in your house.
It was not in
No,
my
I'm
house.
not.
Delusional. It's totally not true. They know it's not true. You know it's not true. And
I
you
know
it's
it's
not
true.
Oh, yes, because I'm a
I know.
liar.
Because,
Okay.
No, because you're delusional. And
Oh,
that's what
yes.
you wanted to
No.
see. She was not in the home at that point. I'm not
saw
saying
what
she
I
didn't move in later on, but she was not living
You
with me
came
at
to
that
the door
point.
huffing and puffing with no shirt on.
Yeah, because
Okay?
I was in my,
Please.
and I'm not allowed to do that in my own home?
You
Excuse me?
are. Of
Like
course you are.
walk to the door in my own
I was
home?
getting a
Or have a
suitcase.
woman in my home? Veronica was in the house.
It's not what you do, it's the way you do it.
That's not true.
Exactly.
It's not true.
Of course it's not.
She's
Oh,
saying
my
what I
goodness.
believe she believes what she's saying.
Have some respect. Our mother just
my
died.
daughter.
I don't understand why I'm asking for a lot. I don't think that's asking for a lot.
Well,
I don't think so either.
okay, let's take a break. Coming up, Alan's wife Veronica says the twins scare her. She'll tell us why when we come back.
I think the girls resented me in the beginning because of my age. I'm 16 and a half years younger than Al. And also, the girls think I'm a gold digger. My biggest fear, if something ever happens to Al, those girls are gonna come at me full force, chew me up and spit me out.
When Carol Carol Ann was giving birth to her baby. I was looking out at the window at my new grandbaby, and a lot of relatives are there, friends are there, and all of a sudden, they had me convinced Christine wanted to make peace with me. So I tapped Christine on her shoulder, said, do you mind if we go outside and I could speak to you a moment? She said, sure. As soon as those doors opened, I was verbally and almost physically attacked, screaming at me, cursing at me, yelling at me, finger in the face. And then she says, you're a dead man. She goes, I have a hit on you and you're dead. And that was the last experience I had with her 4 years ago.
Did you tell him that you had a contract out to have him killed?
That is like, seriously, I find that amusing, actually. A hit.
Tell
Yes,
the
I'm some
truth.
mafioso person.
Tell the truth.
I probably
Tell
went
the
off on
people
you.
who are hanging out with. That's the exact word you said, Christine.
Did you
No,
tell
I did
him
not
that?
say I have a hitman like I'm some mafioso
You didn't say
chick.
hitman. You said I'm
Oh, I
going
had a
to
gun in
hit
my
on you.
pocket,
No,
too,
you
like-
said you had a hit on me.
Oh, yeah, I have a hit.
Tell the truth, Christine.
I am telling the
be
truth.
Honest.
I am. You
Please
be
be
honest.
honest.
You know what? You think you're manipulative, but really,
I'm
it's
not.
not going to work.
See?
The manipulativeness is not going to work. Okay? Really.
You did not say that.
I did not say that.
So he's lying.
He's lying.
Why would I make that up?
Because you're a little delusional.
Boy, there's a lot of delusions around here.
Yeah.
So you did not
I
threaten
didn't,
him.
Dr. Phil, I did not.
Why would he make that up?
Because people like to make up things. They do. To make themselves look better and
Yeah,
feel better. You and I
yeah.
both know that. You've been doing this for a long time. You know people like to make up things.
Yes,
Yes.
I do. Well, all right, let's hear what Veronica has to say, and then we'll talk about that.
I'm very scared of the girls. They make me uncomfortable. I don't know what they're capable of. I think the girls resented me in the beginning because of my age. I'm 16 and a half years younger than Al. And also the girls think I'm a gold digger. Carol and Christine said in numerous letters I was out for his money and just looking out for myself and my children. Their statements hurt me a lot because I raised my kids on my own. I never asked for anything. I don't believe Al did anything wrong other than love me. I always encouraged Al to have a relationship with his daughter. I personally couldn't go without being with my children, but my children don't talk to me the way they do. Al's very strong on the outside, but he has a soft spot. He misses his girls. I wish for Carol and Christine just to give me a chance. I'm not trying to take the place of their mother. I never would do that. I just want to be their friend. But my biggest fear, if something ever happens to Al, those girls are going to come at me full force, chew me up and spit me out.
All right, well, I'm glad you're here.
Thank you.
Have they been disrespectful to you?
Never to my face, never, no.
Have they been disrespectful about her to you?
Extremely.
What have they said?
Called her every name in the book. You have to do more than spread your legs to get a man. It's in letters that they wrote to me. They've called her every name in the book, from white to bimbo, trash, low-life waitress. These are the kind of things that go on.
Have you all said these things about her in letters, Carol, Christine?
Yes, long ago, not recently. As a person, I'm sure Veronica's great, and we've had no problem. However, at the beginning, you set the stage for things. My father never introduced us to her or me before he moved to Ray. That's the biggest problem. I didn't know who she was.
I met her at
It was
your
all
party.
speculation.
I
Not
met
her.
her at
She's-
your party.
Not
Chris was there.
before.
With me?
Before, yeah.
No, I did not, Veronica. When I knocked on the door that day, I remember seeing these boxes.
You
My
did not
sister had
knock on
never
the
met
door.
you.
You burst into my home, Carol.
And you said you got a bad vibe from her, Christine, from the very beginning.
Yeah, I did. You know what it was? My dad had a girlfriend at the time. He had a party. The girl was sitting on his lap. She came up to me and said, "Does your dad have a girlfriend?" I said, "Yes, she's sitting on his lap." And I liked the girlfriend. So that night I find out she slept over at my dad's house. And
That's
how
not
that
true.
That's not true either.
You bragged about your sexual exploits.
I was about to vomit in my mouth. I don't think he's gonna own up to anything, so I don't even know if this is like really worth it, honestly.
It's totally up to you. Do both of y'all, you said you went off on your dad. Do y'all do that a lot?
If you if I feel threatened in some way, I will, yeah.
Well, you yelled and screamed at my producer about the airport and the airline.
Because
and
my daughter, they wanted my daughter not to sit next to me.
we don't run the airline.
Okay, but I can't have my 5-year-old daughter by herself.
Well, I understand, but you work that out. You go on the airplane, you say, could you switch seats?
And then my
Could you
daughter, we tried, no one would switch seats.
You can find anybody out of 160,
you.
170 people that would
I
let you sit
promise
with your 5-year-old daughter.
Nobody would allow that. I swear to you, I would have been on that plane if they did. And it was disgusting. I was pretty appalled by it. And I'm like, okay. So we got
but why
another
are you
flight.
yelling at my producer about it?
Because I had 2 people telling me they don't want to go anymore.
Well, but
Like, my niece, they wanna go. Like, I just don't wanna go anymore.
Yelling? What does being verbally abusive to somebody on the
Wait,
phone
I don't know what
solve
exactly.
that?
I talked to this person. Everything was fine. I don't really understand. Like, I didn't really like go off. I was upset because I'm like, I can't not sit next to my daughter. I was kind of in panic mode. But I don't understand.
Okay, well, that helps me to understand. So that's your panic mode. But
I couldn't get on
why
a
yell
plane.
instead
just a
of
panic
instead of
mode.
problem solve?
I was
I'm trying to figure out how you guys operate. That's what I'm trying to figure out.
I was problem
this
solving.
is
I
what
don't
we
yell
grew up
anymore.
with.
I really don't.
You don't yell anymore.
No, I'm really calm now, actually. Yeah.
So
I've grown up a lot.
is
like-
my producer lying about you yelling?
I mean, is this like a bullying session? I'm not really getting this right now. I'm feeling like I'm being bullied.
Really?
Yeah, I do. I actually do. I feel like I'm kind of getting bullied right now.
Because you're being asked questions that make you uncomfortable?
I just feel like I'm getting bullied right now.
But
Like
who's
this
bullying
whole
you?
thing. Like this and this. It's like, I don't think he's going to own up to anything. So I don't even know if this is like really worth it, honestly.
It's totally up to you.
I just don't think it's going to solve anything. Like, I'll fess up to whatever, but I don't think he's willing to do that.
Yeah, well, we'll ask him. They also say that you stayed over and y'all had sex the first night and that you bragged across time about your sexual exploits with Veronica.
Untrue.
What are you talking about? I heard half of it and I was about to vomit in my mouth.
Oh yeah, untrue.
No, it's not true.
That's what I said. These
It's not
delusional
true,
statements.
Veronica. You weren't there, number one.
Do you, Christine, blame Veronica for your bad relationship with your father?
I blame my father for my bad relationship with my father. However, as a woman, I think like maybe she should have did a better job at coming to me and my sister maybe and getting us acquainted with her. Because that's what I would have done.
After the letters you wrote about me, you expect me to do that?
Well,
Really?
the
We
letters
know
wouldn't
you,
be
Veronica.
written about you if
That's
it
right.
was done
You still
right
don't
in the
know.
first
you
place.
if
You
you're
still don't know
We
us.
know what we
We were
heard.
painted a picture,
Yeah,
and we
what-
went by
what
that
did you
picture.
hear?
What did they say in the letters
They
about
told
Veronica?
they told me, oh, if you do have a relationship with this woman and let her move into my mom's house, which I sold because it became so uncomfortable with this whole thing. They
with
said,
something else.
okay, she can move in, but her 3 kids, she had 3 young teenagers. Her 3 young kids can't. And then it's in the
you
letters.
kicked us out. We were.
What did you want me to do with
You
my
left.
You
kids?
said we have to
You
pay
left.
rent.
Okay, we were jealous, okay? We were
You said
jealous.
we had to pay
we
rent.
just lost
Your
our
mother
mom.
said it first
we were
of all.
jealous.
Number
Yeah.
2,
And I
No,
just wanted
you
to
she
be
said
friends.
she was
I
putting the money
didn't
away.
Attack you guys. I
Dad,
never
you
came
said.
at you guys.
Don't lie.
I was jealous. I had emotions.
Right? Because you felt like he just got a new family
Yeah.
and just moved on and left
Yeah.
you behind.
Yeah.
And you feel the same way, Carol?
Absolutely.
They said her kids couldn't move in. Then they said, okay.
But you understand
Yeah,
what
we
they're
can move in.
saying
Yeah,
is
I-
that you just came up with a new family and all of a sudden they don't matter. Now you're focused on Veronica, her kids, whole new family, just moving on to hell with them.
I tried.
Dr.
Yeah,
Phil,
I
can I
understand
say
what she's saying.
Yeah,
but-
Carol.
And when we were 17 years old, we were almost 18. We had just graduated high school. He said to us, either you each have to pay $400 a month rent or you can get out. I
Delusional.
looked at my sister. I said, is he crazy? I'm not going to
Thank
pay
you.
that. We moved out. We got a shared a 1-bedroom apartment at 18 years old.
Part
so
of that
yes,
is the
it
truth.
hurts. Father doesn't want you there, but then he's going to move other children in. Yes, it hurts. It hurts, and it makes you angry, and it makes you yell, and it makes you scream, and it makes you curse. Of course, we're human.
I never took the dollar from my daughters. All I did was give.
All right, let's take a break. Coming up, Alan says there was another person the twins were mean and disrespectful to. He'll tell us who when we come back.
Ready to Love is back.
And this season
She was just throwing shade left and right.
is going
to get messy.
Honey.
Corey, you can't take them all out.
You're right.
Ready to Love returns Friday, October 15th at 8, 7 Central. Part of Real Drama Weekends on OWN.
Rinsing dishes before they go in the dishwasher? Well, Cascade Platinum has 50% more cleaning power, so you don't have to. Its food-seeking enzymes break down food into particles so small it can flow right down the drain. Plus, it's powerful enough for the quick wash cycle. Cascade Platinum with 50% more cleaning power.
Leonard was afraid he'd die of lung cancer. He never thought it would be COPD. You always think you have more time than you do. And you really don't.
You can quit. Call 1-800-QUIT now for help getting free medication.
When our parents get older, sometimes they need a little care.
Can you believe that?
Find care for all you love. Get senior care help now. Care.com.
William Hayes is here to help find what his customers need.
Have you tried GoodRx?
And that includes helping them find the best prices on medications at their pharmacy with GoodRx.
You save $60 a month.
Thank you.
Glad I can help.
You're good with GoodRx.
Angie's List is now Angie, and it's easier than ever to get your projects done right. With Angie, you can connect with top pros and see ratings and reviews. And when you book and pay through Angie, you're covered by our happiness guarantee. Check out Angie.com today. Angie, and done.
How many people have you had sex with in one night? 6.
Did you say 6?
It's a challenge.
Did you use protection? I don't say for all the stupid stuff I see you doing.
I don't know if this is normal for them. It's not normal for me.
All the places you've lived come out into that person.
Don't shade me. Stop the conversation now. Detroit, Atlanta, all that. You can get drugged in all 3 of those places.
Oh, Destiny, I don't be threatening to drag folks.
Love and Marriage Huntsville, Saturdays at 9, 8 Central. Part of Real Drama Weekends on OWN.
There's so many things I miss about my mom. She cared about us, and she would have done, anything that she could have to make sure we were okay.
We were so close. She was my best friend.
The girls actually at about 14 years old started disrespecting their mom. They would never disrespect her in front of me, but Louise would always come to me and say, they cursed at me today, one of them raised their hands at me today, and I know this for a fact because I heard it every day. It reached a point where about 2 months before Louise was killed, she actually asked me, and I never told the girls this, there's a lot of things they don't know, but she was begging me, and she said, I really need to move away. I have to get away from them. She said, I can't deal with it anymore. And I never told the girls that, ever.
I'm watching our Twitter board right now for the viewers at home. Tina M. Cummins says, the dad needs to acknowledge their pain. They are hurt and they can't move forward until he does. Let's be real here, says, regardless of how the new wife is, some children are just never able to accept a stepmom. Healed Heart says, Dad, did you not hear what these girls just said? They are hurt and feel like you threw them to the curbside. So that's what viewers at home are saying. Are they reading you right?
Yes, absolutely. And I'm glad that was said because I would say that's exactly right.
Well, maybe you're not getting bullied. Maybe you're actually just getting the story out. I don't know. That's just what people at home are saying.
I just feel like he won't admit anything. Like everything we do is a lie, and it's not.
Right before the mother was killed in the car accident, which I was in the car with, but thank heavens not driving because I'd be blamed for that. But they,
Did we wait, back up a second, 'cause you know
my
what? Kyle-
former wife Louise said, I need a girls' getaway with my daughters. Take the money, take the girls, I'll watch the dogs, I'll watch the kids, don't worry, go. So she went with them. Oh, she's got a look on her face already. She knows what's coming. So, anyway, she said, Christine called me every day as well. They went off to Vegas. Christine called me, she'll probably tell you. Her mom called me every day. Carol is ruining this vacation. It's disgusting. She's on me every minute. Christine calls, I'm coming home early. I can't take this. I can't take Carol. She's ruining the vacation. She's abusing Mom.
Because she was gambling a lot, and I didn't like it. And I kept telling her to stop.
She didn't like it. She didn't like it.
No, because you kept complaining, and you had a problem with it.
I never complained. I never complained.
Yes,
never complained.
You did.
Christine, I don't want to hurt your feelings here, but about 3 or 4 weeks before Louise was killed.
No, you do want to hurt her feelings. Tell the truth.
Sorry you feel like that.
Yeah.
before she was killed in the accident, I get a call. I was out fishing on the ocean, and I get a call saying, "You got to come home." Now, this woman never complained, ever. Louise never did. "You got to come home immediately. I'm in extreme pain." I asked Christine to take me to the hospital. She said, "You think the world," this is what her mom told me, so I can only say, "You think the world evolves around you, and I have a date. I've dated this guy 3 times. I think it could turn into something, and I can't take you to the hospital because I have a date."
That's not what happened.
So I race home on the water. I have police boats chasing me, going through the Intracoastal. Got home, took her to the hospital. The woman had to be admitted.
Yeah, he tells some great stories.
Oh, this is the truth? I mean,
Oh
you
my
could
God,
check
it's
with the
the
hospital?
truth.
Yeah, right.
So
It's
she
the
says,
It's not. Christine would never do that.
Is that not the truth?
It's not the truth.
So he's
My mom
No.
said, I don't feel good. And I'm like, "Do you want to go to the hospital?" She said, "No, I don't." And I said, "Well, what's wrong, Mom?" She's like, "Don't worry about me. I'm going to be fine. Go out on your date and have a good time."
then why did she call me a
I
second
don't know
later?
why she said that.
A second later, I had to
She
race
wouldn't
in
tell
off the
me
ocean.
that.
So I called Christine from the hospital and said, "Your mother's admitted to the hospital. You better get home from your date."
I know my
She
sister
never
would-
told me that, Dad.
So this is what your mom
was
said.
like
Then
this
your
with
mom's
Mom.
a
You
liar?
could
You got a
deny
third
whatever
party
you
involved
want.
here, and it's like the gossip game.
Well,
I mean,
I
you
could
could
take
tell-
her to the hospital,
I mean, you could
and she
deny-
was
you
home
could
saying she
say-
didn't want help.
Okay.
Ma'am, you could say whatever you want. I was so close to Mom.
You were
it
close,
wasn't even funny.
but disrespectful and selfish.
She told me to
You
go.
girls are very selfish. You
I got a question for the
You're
three of
sick.
you that
You're a sick person.
maybe
It's
the
sad.
hardest question
You're sick.
any of the three of you have been asked since you got here. I have a question for you and you
Okay.
and you, Carol, that I promise will be the hardest question to answer, but I am going to get an answer from the three of you after the break.
After my mom passed away, my dad got approximately like $2 million. We each received $30,000 and my dad kept the rest of the money.
I had this special umbrella policy which paid off approximately $200,000. I don't know where they would think I'd get millions from.
When he got all this money, he bought a BMW, he redecorates the house. He knows that I was struggling with my daughter as a single mom, and it just didn't even faze him.
They went to a lawyer and tried to get more, and their attitude was they should have half of my net worth because they felt Mom would want it this way. I live on Social Security and my pension from the police department. I mean, I don't work. I don't have any other income. I don't know what they expect out of me. I really don't.
Well, that was Christine and Carol. They say their father came into a lot of money after their mother passed. They say that he spent all of that money on his new wife, Veronica, instead of helping his own daughters. Let's talk about that first quickly. Was there a will?
No.
So if there wasn't a will, then I'm no lawyer, but that means that it all goes to you. And then you do what you think is best, right?
Yeah, and the only thing I owned was a house. I had no money.
With
not cash
$800 and
money.
something thousand worth of equity in the home. Then I
Not
worked
true.
with him. Okay.
But it's his home,
It
right?
is. It is. You know what? And Dr. Phil, thank God I didn't need $1 from him. But the point is, let's be truthful here.
Yeah, let's.
You got an umbrella policy. How much did it settle for? Not $200,000. I was in your store every day. Don't forget that.
$200,000.
Do you have the paperwork?
Yeah, I have the paperwork.
Can I see it?
$200,000. Absolutely.
Can I see it?
I don't have it with me.
It was 800 and something thousand.
You
You had a
lost-
$1 million umbrella policy.
You lost your mind.
Do you think he owes you that money?
No, he doesn't owe me anything. He doesn't owe me a thing. And thank God I never needed it.
But Carol, you said you were a single mother and you were struggling to make it, but he hooks up with Veronica, who's a single mother, struggling to make it, and then all of a sudden he takes care of her and all of her needs, but not you. He'll help this
that
single
hurts.
mother, but not his daughter.
I'm not gonna lie. That hurts.
I want you to tell the truth.
Okay, well,
I
here's
promise
if I had
you
all
something.
these
here's
millions,
what here's my question.
All that money.
Here's the
I
question I
really
have
did.
for each
I
one of
don't.
you. Here's
I
the
don't really
question.
did.
Here's the question I have for each one of you. What could you or can you do better to heal this family?
Right,
As a
right.
father, as the leader of this family, what could you have done? What can you do to make this situation better?
I don't know. I really don't know. I've tried.
These girls
Yes.
are obviously hurt. They're wounded. They feel like they lost their mother and then their father. Okay, that's what I get. And I'm not saying that they're good at expressing it well, and I think they can get up on their hind legs and go to barking and name calling and all of that sort of thing. But people do things out of anger. But if you take away the anger, you peel the anger off of her face, and what you see behind it is hurt and fear and frustration. You peel the anger off of Carol's face, what you see is hurt, fear, frustration. You're responding to the anger and ignoring the hurt. You're ignoring the frustration. You're ignoring the need. But for you as a father to come on the show and say, well, let me just check the list off here and tell you how they can go from 0 to bitch in 2 seconds, then you should take no pride in that.
I'm not.
Well, no,
And
you
I
are.
don't.
Oh, you're saying it
I
with
don't take
great
any pride
aplomb.
in it.
Oh, you're
I
saying
just
with
don't know
great
what to do.
aplomb.
I don't know what to do with this.
This woman, Christine, is hurting. Obviously, she's hurting. She is blocked. She's stuck in the grief process. She lost her mother, then she lost her father. And you're responding to the anger. You're supposed to be the hero in this situation. You're supposed to be the calm in the middle of the storm. You're supposed to be the one that pushes aside the anger and heals the hurt. That's all I'm saying. And in the entire time you've been here, you haven't asked me one time, Dr. Phil, what can I do better to bring peace to this family? Just think about that. Okay? Hold that thought.
Okay.
Think about it. Carol, what can you do to improve this situation?
I could definitely communicate better, get to know Veronica a little better before I jump to conclusions.
I think that would be a really good start, because I have learned a fair amount about Veronica since I've known her. And I think she is is the calmest, most mature, and gentle spirit in this entire situation. She refuses to speak ill of either of you two girls or of your daughter. She supports him 100% in having a healthy relationship with the two of you, despite the fact that you have called her everything but decent.
I just want to say, I'm sorry for misjudging you or whatever.
I'm sorry too. It's okay. I understand.
I was angry and I misjudged.
Well, tell her. She's
And
right
I'm
there.
very sorry.
That means a lot to me, really. I appreciate that.
And I haven't been perfect. I've been less than perfect, and I was angry and let my anger get the best of me. And I won't do that. I don't want to do that. But it can't be his way or the highway. You know, it has to be all of our way. Like, it can't only be his way. We have to have all of our feelings into consideration moving forward.
Well, I'm going to talk about that. But first, let's take a break. Coming up, Alan says Carol has programmed her 16-year-old daughter to be just as mean as she has been. Well, we're going to talk to this lovely granddaughter when we come back.
If I were to blame anyone for how things are in my family now, it would be my grandfather. The way I feel about my grandfather at this moment is disgusted. His focus is 100% not geared towards his family at all. It's definitely geared towards Veronica. And that's not the way it should be. My grandfather is a control freak, and Veronica is kind of a drone, so he says jump, she says how high. I do not want a relationship with Veronica. In the beginning, I was really angry, and now there's a lot of disappointment. I would just hope for my grandfather to be more involved in all of our lives instead of being so distant and not really giving a damn about any of us. Personally, I do not think it will ever get back to being a cohesive, happy family ever again, but you never know.
Well, Kayla, thanks for being here.
Good to be here.
What do you need from your grandfather that you're not getting?
An apology.
For?
A lot of things, you know, not being there for 11 years since my grandmother's passing, you know. Since she's died, he has turned into a different person. I grew up with him and my grandmother. I lived in their house, you know. I pretty much looked at him as a father figure to me.
Mm-hmm.
And when she passed, you know, that all changed and he was gone.
Mm-hmm. And do you miss him?
I miss the old him.
Do you miss spending time with Kayla?
Well, absolutely. I live in a different state, but I've never, when she makes it sound like I just picked up and left. I took her every week that I possibly could, and sometimes more than that. She stayed at my house with Veronica weekends, many, many weekends, while I still lived in Florida. So it's not that I just picked up and left. That's not true. But I did move to another state, and that was for financial reasons.
She says, I've lost you. I lost her and I lost him at the same time. And your response was to go through a tick list inventory to show how you're right and she's wrong.
I'm not trying to be right. She made it sound like he's gone.
Does it matter? Does it matter?
That's not true.
Does it matter?
It sure does.
No, it doesn't.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Because what do you do after that?
What you do after that is you respond to what's behind the statement. Perception is reality. If her perception is, poof, you've gone and she's abandoned, then through that filter she will look at everything and it will look negative. She will overstate. She will over-exaggerate. There's no question about that. Do you think I don't get that? This isn't my first rodeo, so I was trying to skip.
And it's not my first rodeo with them. This is 10 years.
Yeah, I was trying to skip some of the elements here, and so it is getting old.
Yeah.
It's getting old for them, it's getting old for you. So when everything is old, then why not try something new?
That's why I'm here.
Well, you're in the right place. When we come back, I'm going to be very, very specific about what I think this family needs to do. I'm going to put verbs in my sentences. It's going to be very action-oriented, and I'm hoping there's going to be a better holiday season ahead. We'll be right back.
I honestly need an apology from my daughters before I think we can move forward. Not so much for me, but for them to understand that there is a certain amount of a consequence for your behavior. And the least you could do is say you're sorry for it.
I've apologized a million times. It hasn't done me any good.
I don't think my father's ever apologized to us.
Because it's our fault in his eyes.
You know, one of our viewers, Shelley Hale, says it really well. She says, Dr. Phil, they all need to tear up the list they have kept of injustices and start fresh. The truth is, based on results, not what you did, but the way in which you did it, resulted in pain on the part of some of your family members. Would you agree with that?
Obviously.
And your daughters are hurting. They're expressing it in terms of anger, but they're both stuck in this grief process. They've never completed this grief process because they got too much into their anger. And you have been misunderstood, you have been unfairly attacked, and you have been rightly criticized for some things. You haven't been perfect. You've done some things that were okay, and some things that weren't, right?
Absolutely.
And what you should apologize for is the result. You never want to inflict pain on your children, do you?
Absolutely not.
But you have. Correct?
I guess. I mean, it's obvious.
Okay, all right, but if it's obvious, then why are you guessing? You're guessing because you're saying, I didn't mean to hurt anybody. I don't think I did anything that is wrong. My point to you is you said, perhaps I was insensitive. Now, that was a bunch of lip service, or you really believe that you were insensitive at times.
Yes, I believe it. I don't say things I don't mean.
Okay, then I think you should be motivated to apologize to these women in your family, and not by putting an if or giving a half-assed apology, but by saying, I clearly have made choices that have resulted in pain on your part, and for that, I apologize.
I'm honestly, no, I can't be. I can't be. I cannot be for what they've done. I want you to understand,
get to
Dr.
them in a
Phil,
minute.
I'm not angry. I have no anger towards them.
I'm going to get to
But
them
I've
in a
tried,
minute.
we're leaving out a lot.
Well, I'm
4 times.
Thank you, I am too.
4 times
Carol, I'm
I have
sorry.
tried
You ever got
to make peace with these girls, bring them. I says it's premature. They are so full of anger since they're young. This is before their mom. They scare me.
That was
They
then.
literally scare me.
Dad, you're a beast when you want to be too. Cut it out,
Okay,
really.
that was-
the
come
apple
on.
doesn't fall far from
Come
the
on.
tree, okay?
That
Let's
was
be real.
then. That was then. That was then. This is now. Your wife, while you're arguing with me about that, is apologizing. She is apologizing to everybody here. She's already done it. She's moved past. You're in the rearview mirror. And you're saying what you're thinking. Let me tell you what you're thinking. Let me read your mind.
Go ahead.
Let me read your mind. I'm reading your mind, and you're saying there's a lot you don't know. You don't know how many
Ooh.
times I have tried.
Wow.
No. Let me tell you, we've mended over this. We mended during the pregnancy. We mended during this. We mended during that. Then it blows up over money. Where is this $2 million? Where is this? Where is that? It always seems to fall apart. So why stick my hand in the blender one more time? Dr. Phil, no thank you.
No, I want to go in the blender, but I refuse to say that I'm going to apologize for something I feel I'm not responsible for.
What you're being is a right fighter, and that makes for a very lonely old man.
And that's the way I wind up.
Maybe. Christine, you need to be willing to apologize for the things you've done in this situation that have contributed to the chaos.
Okay.
And the disrespect that you have
I
given
totally
to his
do
wife.
apologize. I have no problem apologizing.
Are you sorry? Do you apologize for
I
that?
do apologize
Carol,
for what
you
I've
listened
done,
to everything
yes.
I just said to your twin sister. I know twins
Yes.
get tired of sharing things, but share that explanation. Can you acknowledge the things that you have done to contribute to chaos? Can you forgive him and yourself and apologize for this?
Absolutely. I take full responsibility for the wrongdoings I've done, and I sincerely apologize to both of you.
And when you get home and watch this back, you're going to feel like a real ass.
You know something? I doubt it. I've never felt like one before. So I doubt it.
I want to thank all of my guests today. Thanks for being here. So long. Come on, man.
On Dr. Phil, she had sex with her student.
Stupid is not a big enough word to describe what you've done. What was it that happened?
I think the whole world knows what happened.
Well, I don't think they do.
she could face prison.
I'm not a monster and I'm not a predator.
You're having sex in your classroom.
And I'm going to pay for it forever.
Now,
has this hurt him in any way?
I wouldn't think so. He was very flirty. He knew exactly what he was doing.
But he was 15.
the exclusive interview.
Did you see yourself marrying him?
Yes.
You see yourself marrying an 8th grader. Did you resign because you thought I can continue my relationship with him?
Yes.
Today, when you send your children to school, you aren't expecting them to get a real live sex education from their teacher. But there's a truly disturbing, hot for teacher trend in headlines recently. Dozens of female teachers arrested for having sex and sometimes even torrid love affairs with their students. We are hearing about this way too much in the news these days. Take a look.
Once honored as Teacher of the Year, now must serve 38 years in a Florida state prison.
There are allegations tonight that Catherine Camille Murray took her relationship with one student way too far.
This is another shocking example of a teacher who has really violated their position of trust and taken complete advantage of a 15-year-old boy.
Kelly Watson is accused of having a sexual relationship with a boy she met while teaching at a special education school in Vista.
The former Sorsby teacher who pled guilty to having an inappropriate relationship with a 14-year-old boy now knows her fate.
40-year-old Queens teacher Joy Morsiak pleading guilty to one count of rape in the 3rd degree.
A Pennsylvania high school teacher found out today that she will go to prison for having sex with one of her students.
Do you regret it? What about to the parents who trusted you? Anything to say to them?
How and why is this happening? Well, today, perhaps we may find out, because we are speaking to one of those accused teachers. Jennifer Caswell, who was known to her middle school English students by her married name, Mrs. Sexton, was arrested in June 2014 after sleeping with her 15-year-old student. According to police at first, the student denied their love connection and said, "She's just a nice teacher." But police say the boy has since admitted he did have several sexual encounters with Mrs. Sexton in her classroom, her home, her car. Police say Jennifer even followed her 15-year-old student on his summer vacation 650 miles away to Mississippi, where she had sex with him in a hotel room. Take a look.
A former teacher from Hollis is charged with sexually assaulting a former student.
A school teacher is facing a string of charges following an affair with a 15-year-old boy.
28-year-old Jennifer Caswell is accused of engaging in several inappropriate acts with a 15-year-old boy. Police say 2 of those encounters allegedly happened inside Caswell's classroom.
Aside from the classroom, there are reports that the pair had secret hookups in her car and also in his family home.
8-year-old Jennifer Sexton struck up a relationship with a teenage student months before she was caught having sex with him in a hotel room.
She's understood to have travelled 650 miles to a Mississippi hotel where the pair were caught by police and she was later arrested.
She is now in police custody facing a string of charges.
If found guilty, Jennifer Sexton will be listed on the child sex registry for the rest of her life.
So, what on earth might have made a married teacher with her own young son do something like this? Today, for the first time ever, Jennifer Caswell is speaking out in an exclusive interview. Why were you a teacher?
I've always enjoyed working with children.
You've been a teacher for like 7 years.
Well, I worked at the school, in the school system for 7 years.
7 years, okay.
Yes. I was in aid for the majority of that.
Okay, and how long had you actually been a teacher?
That was my first year being the certified teacher.
Okay. What grade were you teaching class-wise when this incident happened?
6th, 7th, and 8th.
What grade was this particular student in? That
8th grade.
And had you ever met or known this student before?
No.
How did it cross the line, in your opinion? What was the first breach in terms of teacher-student relationship?
He was very flirty, and I should have put a stop to it then, and I didn't. I wasn't used to getting attention, and so I mean, it felt nice to have someone compliment me and things like that because I felt very unwanted.
Describe him personality-wise, if you can, for me.
He was very funny, very outgoing. He could make me laugh and smile a lot. And he was very mature, and he knew what to say.
Did you see him as a child, or did you see him as a man?
Neither. I mean, he wasn't a man, but I didn't see him as a child. I mean, he's nearly 6 feet tall. I mean, he's definitely not a child, but he was very mature.
You said that you were vulnerable to somebody telling you flirty things or things that you wanted to hear. Tell me why that is.
Well, I wasn't used to getting attention at all.
Were you in a situation where you didn't hear a lot of compliments?
Exactly. I was with a guy for 10 years, and I mean, I never got complimented, never even got a birthday present, Christmas present, for Valentine's Day, nothing. I felt really bad about myself. I mean, I never thought I would be in this situation. I'm not a monster and I'm not a predator. I made a stupid decision, but I don't like people having the image of me that they do, because that's not me. I'm a very shy person. I keep to myself, but I made a stupid decision.
And how long had you been married?
We had been married 7 years, but we had been together for 10.
Children?
I have one son.
Okay, how old?
6.
And would you say the marriage was not a good marriage?
No. I mean, we didn't fight, but that's only because we didn't talk. It was like living with a roommate.
Was there affection in the marriage?
No. He would come home, he would talk on the phone to his friends for an hour or two, and then he would go to the playroom and play his Xbox till 1 or 2 in the morning.
He wasn't the type to compliment you or tell
No.
you look nice?
I've never once heard that.
Was he affectionate with you physically? Did he hug you, pat
No,
you,
we never
kiss you?
held hands or cuddled on the couch or anything like that.
Did you miss that?
Yeah, I mean, I wanted that. I mean, I need that. And I wasn't getting it there.
So you're frustrated. So all of a sudden you're in this situation, and this young man begins to give you that attention.
Yes.
And what kind of things would he say to you?
I mean, he would always tell me how beautiful I was and how I was a good person on the inside.
You actually started having a relationship with him of a sexual nature in May?
Yes, it was after I resigned. I was not a teacher when this was going on. I had resigned.
And you started being his teacher at what time of the year?
Well, I was a student teacher then, and then when we came back in January, I was the official teacher. but-
Okay, so you'd gotten your certificate, and so in January you were actually a teacher.
Yes.
And by that point, did you and this student have a banter going back and forth?
No.
When did it begin that he started to say things to you that started to get to you?
I'm really not good with timelines. I'm thinking around March or so, at the end, maybe February, March, around there.
Okay, then where did it go? How did it progress from there?
After I resigned, I was invited over to the house numerous times, and I was welcomed there. And that's pretty much how it started.
You resigned in April.
Yes.
Okay, why did you resign?
Well, because the school became suspicious, and when they called me out on it, I kind of freaked out, and I just signed the paper to resign, and I walked out.
Okay, but what was happening that was making them suspicious?
He was seen in my classroom after school.
He started hanging around your classroom?
Yes.
Because people reported it. They said,
Yes.
we see him coming and going from the classroom
Yeah.
after everybody else is gone. And did they ask for any explanation of why he was there?
Yeah.
What'd you say?
He was in there helping me, and he really was. I was working on something for a pageant.
They didn't buy it?
I don't know, I guess not.
What did they know that made them demand your resignation?
Because he was seen leaving the room and he wasn't supposed to be in there. And they knew that he was very flirty towards me. And I panicked. They did an investigation on it, and actually they came up with nothing, but I resigned anyways.
What happened when you were in there alone? Did he put his hands on you? Did you guys hug? Did you kiss? What did happen?
Well, I don't want to get into those specific details because I don't want the school to be blamed for this. This was my stupid decision and not the school's.
Well, this isn't about the school. I mean, they got word of it. They called you in, confronted you, you resigned and left. So there's no culpability on the school. But he was coming to your classroom when nobody else was around. What were you doing in that classroom that you didn't want anybody else to see?
I mean, he would hug me, but really not much than that if he was dropping by. It was never numerous times or anything like that. I mean, he might drop by and give me a compliment and hug me, but then he would leave.
Do you know of any reason that people might report that oral sex took place in the classroom?
He did tell people that, and he admitted that he did make that up and he was lying. A few days before I had resigned, something inappropriate happened in my classroom, but all the other times,
okay, tell me
it was not sexual.
Tell me about the few days before you resigned.
I was in my classroom and he came by, and that's when it happened.
And what was it that happened?
Well, I think the whole world knows what happened.
Well, I don't think they do.
Well, that's when the relationship became inappropriate.
Did you have sex in your classroom then?
Coming up.
How did this happen? How long did this encounter last?
Maybe 2 hours.
Did both of you get completely disrobed?
Scandal Confession. A Dr. Phil exclusive continues.
Did you have sex in your classroom then?
Yes. The one time.
Tell me how that happened.
He came in, I was working on things. He kept coming closer to me, and I would kind of walk away to the other part, another room, another area of the classroom, and he just walked up to me and then he kissed me. And then it just kind of went from there.
How long did this encounter last?
I mean, he was probably in my room for, maybe 2 hours, I guess.
And how long was the inappropriate part?
I'd say maybe 10 or 15 minutes.
Did both of you get completely disrobed?
No.
Did you get partially disrobed? How did this happen?
Well, I was walking around the classroom straightening up the desks, and I guess it was standing up.
And at that point, did you ever ask him to not do it?
Yes, I was, I kept on saying, no, we can't do this, no, but he wasn't forcing me. I could have easily just walked out of my classroom, but I didn't. But I was resisting, because I knew it was wrong, but I didn't.
And how did you feel afterwards?
Terrified. I just couldn't believe that I had done something like that.
Had he ever kissed you off campus anywhere or anything like that?
No, there was nothing before that.
So it went to going full out?
He did kiss me maybe 2 or 3 days before it happened. That was the first time he had kissed me. I'm sorry, I was confused by the timing of that.
And where did that kiss take place?
In the classroom.
What happened the next time you saw him?
He came by to apologize because I had resigned, and that's when he said that I should come by his house and speak with him and his father, and that's what I did.
What did you say?
They were just very apologetic, that I had lost my job over this, and I was being invited over there numerous times, and I would go.
So you continued the relationship there?
Yes.
What were they apologizing for?
because he knew that his son was seen leaving my classroom.
But he did not know that the two of you had had sex in the classroom.
As far as I know, I don't believe so.
Well, what were they apologizing for?
That I had lost my job over the fact that he was in my classroom, I guess.
What did you do when you went over there?
Oh, we would sit in the living room and talk. You know, I mean, we would all talk, or we'd watch a movie or something like that.
You, the boy, and his father?
Yes.
Now, your father is a pastor?
No, I've never read a news story that had the story right. My father is not a pastor.
Okay, that's why I'm asking, so you could clear that up. He is not a pastor?
No, he is not.
Okay, why are they reporting that he's a pastor?
I guess because the young man's father is a pastor.
Okay, the young man's father is a pastor.
Yes.
Were you affectionate with the boy when you were there?
Not at the beginning, not too much.
But later on you were?
I mean, we never kissed in front of him or anything.
When was the next time that you had sex with the boy?
After I resigned, it was probably 3 weeks after that, I guess.
And where was that?
I don't remember. Maybe in my car.
And where did you go?
We would just drive around anywhere, I mean, in the country.
And did you do this frequently?
I wouldn't say frequently, maybe about 6 times.
Did your husband ever question where you were or what you were doing?
No, because I had already filed for divorce.
Did you have sex at your home?
No.
At his home?
Yes.
But his father wasn't around when you did?
Correct.
And how many times did that happen?
At his home, once.
It is also reported that the boy took a trip for a vacation, is that correct?
Yes.
And that you drove 650 miles to see him while he was in Mississippi?
Yes.
Tell me about that.
Well, he had been gone about a month and a half, and during that time, we talked on the phone nearly all day, every day, and so he wanted me to come visit him. And I thought, I mean, there's plenty of things to do there, and if there's a chance that I get to see him, fine. If not, no big deal.
Where did you see him?
In a parking lot. He had snuck out of the house and jumped a fence and ran across the parking lot and got in my car.
And then where did y'all go?
Back to my hotel.
Were you found there?
Yes.
Tell me about that.
Well, the police knocked on the door and I opened it up and they said, what are you doing here? I said, I'm visiting. And they said, visiting who? And I said, a friend. And they said, is he in there? And I said, yes. And they came in and...
How did they know you were there?
I don't know.
Well, somebody had to tell them, right?
Yeah. My ex was logging into my Facebook, logging into my email. And I mean, I don't know if he's the one that saw my hotel reservations in Mississippi, or, I mean, I really don't know how that happened.
So he may have seen it and called them.
Yeah.
When they knocked on that door, you opened it, it's the police. Tell me what you thought.
It really hadn't hit me yet. I mean, I still didn't realize, you know, the big trouble that it was going to follow.
But at that point, it had not registered with you that this was a criminal relationship?
Up.
You were 27 when this started.
Yes.
Okay, and the boy was?
15.
That is statutory rape, and you knew that was a crime.
Teacher scandal confession. She had sex with her 15-year-old student continues.
Jennifer Sexton is a middle school teacher from Oklahoma who is accused of having an illicit relationship with her 15-year-old student. She's understood to have traveled 650 miles to a Mississippi hotel where the pair were caught by police and she was later arrested.
When they knocked on that door, and it's the police, it had not registered with you that this was a criminal relationship?
No, I mean, the town that I'm from, this happens quite a bit. It's still going on, and if no one's pressing the issue, there's no charges. And unfortunately for me, someone was pressing the issue.
Okay, you're how old?
I'm 29.
So you were 27 when this started?
Yes.
Okay, and the boy was?
15.
So there's a 12-year difference, and he's 15. That's a minor.
Yes.
That in any of the 50 states is statutory rape, right?
Yes.
Now, I know you're not a lawyer, and I know you're not a criminal prosecutor, but I also know that you're a college-educated woman, and you know what a minor is.
Yes.
And you know that having sex with a minor is a crime, right?
Yes.
And you knew that was a crime.
Yes.
Okay, and when I first asked you, you said, I never had sex with him until I resigned. But then you said, well, actually, I had sex with him several days before I resigned.
I don't remember saying I never had sex with him before I resigned.
That's what you said. So were you confused about the timing?
Yeah, I'm kind of confused right now.
Because I want to be sure that I have it straight.
Okay.
Because you resigned on the 14th of April, I believe.
Okay.
But whatever the day was, you did have sex with him in your classroom while you were a teacher at the school.
One time, yes.
Okay. So this was a teacher having sex with a student, and it was an adult having sex with a minor. And both of those are way across the line, right?
Yes.
And you didn't resign because it looked bad. You resigned because you had had sex in a classroom and people were talking about it.
Yeah.
They didn't know everything, but you did.
Yeah.
Did you resign to stop that investigation?
It was just kind of a split decision. I just signed it and got out of there.
What did they know?
I believe someone had told them that they had seen him touch my butt in the hallway. And I don't remember that. I mean, I didn't feel it or something, because I don't remember that happening, but someone did report that.
And how long before you resigned was this?
Maybe a couple weeks or a month, I don't really know.
So this had gotten physical long before you actually had sex?
No, well, I don't remember him grabbing my butt in the hallway, but someone had reported that.
Did you resign because you thought, if I resign, I can continue my relationship with him?
Yes.
So you thought, job or him? I'll give up the job because I want him.
Yes. He made me happy, and so I'd rather be happy than be miserable and have my job.
So you quit to clear the decks, so there would be no reason not to be with him.
Yeah.
But you still had the problem that he was a minor.
Yes. But in this town, I mean, there was a cop who dated a minor. She was 15 and he was in his 20s, and he was a cop, and nobody cared.
So you're saying the culture in the town, that was not taboo?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people do it.
So culture in the town's okay, teacher's a problem, being a teacher student's a problem, so get rid of that.
Yeah.
And then you're good to go.
Yeah.
And in fact, that's what you did. You started going to his house, you started hanging out with him, filed for divorce, spending time with him, and you pursued it just that way.
Yes.
If it's okay in the culture, why sneak around? Why not just do it openly?
Because it's not okay if someone's pressing the issue, and my ex-husband was pressing the issue. Every time my car was seen at his house, he called the cops, and he finally contacted the DA.
So you knew they were after you?
Yes.
And you continued anyway?
Yes.
Why?
I was hoping that he would eventually just move on and leave it alone.
Did you see yourself being with him long term?
Yes.
Marrying him?
Yes.
He was 15. I mean, he was 8th grade?
Yes.
You see yourself marrying an 8th grader?
Coming up.
Did you see yourself having a child with him?
Yes.
Are you still in love with him?
Ready to Love is back, y'all. And this season, we're...
Teacher scandal confession. She had sex with her 15-year-old student continues.
Did you see yourself being with him long term?
Yes.
Marrying him?
Yes.
He was 15. I mean, you see yourself marrying an 8th grader.
Well, not at the time that he was in 8th grade, but years later, it could have been a possibility.
You would wait till 9th grade, 10th grade, till it became legal?
Probably till he graduated.
So you were going to wait 4 years for him to graduate in hopes that you would get married.
Yeah.
Did you see yourself having a child with him?
Yes.
Did you want to get pregnant with him?
No, not at that time, no.
When the police first approached him, he denied any involvement, correct?
Yes.
He said, we're friends. She's my teacher, we're friends. But then he ratted you out.
After months of them questioning him.
He caved.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
I mean, I'm sure he was scared, and I'm not angry at him for that. I mean, they interrogated him and questioned him numerous times, and he continually denied it, and eventually he confessed.
Have you talked to him?
No.
Has he reached out to communicate to you?
He's contacted me twice on Facebook, but I have not responded. I didn't reply back, and then I blocked him.
When you were together intimately, did he tell you he loved you?
Yes.
Did he?
I don't know. I mean, I'm sure at that age he probably was thinking he truly did, but I don't know if he really did or not.
Did you fall in love with him?
At the time, I thought I was.
Are you still in love with him?
No. I was never in love with him. I see that now.
Why do you not have feelings for him anymore?
You move on. I mean, it was just a stupid mistake. I was very, very low feeling about myself, and he made me feel better.
Is there any reason that someone would say that you were involved with another student?
No.
Was this the only student that you ever had any feelings for?
Yes.
Were you the first person that he had had sex with?
No.
How do you know that?
He had told me he had sex before, and he had told me that he had even had sex with a 24-year-old.
Was there ever a time when you said, I absolutely have to stop this? I'm involved with a student. The ink's not dry on my teaching certificate, and I've violated the canon of ethics within 6 weeks of having my certificate.
Mm-hmm.
Did that ever?
When I got arrested in Mississippi, yeah.
How do you feel about the charges that are against you now?
I will be a registered sex offender for the rest of my life.
How do you feel about that?
It's horrible, because that's for life. I'm going to be a sex offender forever. I'm not a predator. I'm not a sex offender. I'm not a threat or a danger to anyone. It's here forever. And I'm going to pay for it forever.
You're being charged as a rapist.
And I didn't force anything. I'm not a rapist.
Did you rape this child?
No. I mean, according to the law, it was statutory rape, but I did not force anything. I didn't manipulate. I didn't take advantage. He knew exactly what he was doing, and I didn't force anything.
Has this hurt him in any way?
Coming up.
If you had a 15-year-old son and some 27-year-old woman had sex with him in the classroom and sent him back home to you, you would consider him unharmed.
Dry eye symptoms keep driving you crazy? Inflammation in your eye might be to blame.
Let's kick Ken's ache and burn into gear.
Over-the-counter eye drops typically work by lubricating your eyes and may provide temporary relief.
Those drops will probably pass right by me.
Xiidra works differently, targeting inflammation that can cause dry eye disease.
What is that? Xiidra!
It can provide lasting relief. Xiidra is the only FDA-approved non-steroid treatment specifically for the signs and symptoms of dry eye disease. 1 drop in each eye twice a day. Don't use if you're allergic to Xiidra. Common side effects include eye irritation, discomfort, or blurred...
Teacher Scandal Confession. A Dr. Phil exclusive continues.
Has this hurt?
I meant no one any harm, and no one was harmed.
So you don't believe that if you had a 15-year-old son and he went to school and some 27-year-old woman had sex with him in the classroom and sent him back home to you, you would consider him unharmed?
Yes.
You would think that's the time in his life that he should be having sex with a 27-year-old woman.
There is no set age. It varies with everyone, but he's not harmed.
So you think emotionally this didn't fast track him, this didn't put him in a situation where he got to a level of maturity in a relationship that he was not ready for?
He had relationships with other people before. I wasn't his first time, and so...
Did you use protection?
No. Well, was on birth control, so yes.
You use protection as far as pregnancy is concerned?
Yes.
Is your husband trying to take your son?
Yes. He said that with all these charges that I would take my son and kidnap him and run away. And that's just ridiculous.
Are you allowed to see your son now?
Yes.
Do you have to be supervised?
Yes, my parents have to be with me.
Why?
He said that I would take him and run away. And if my parents are there, then they would be accountable too.
So he got supervised visits on the theory that you're a flight risk?
Yes.
Are you a flight risk?
No.
Are you standing to be accountable here?
I even turned myself in. I'm not running.
Are you going to prison?
More than likely. They want to send me for 10 years.
Is that fair?
I don't think it's fair. I've learned my lesson, and there's no reason that I need to be taken off the streets. I'm going to be a registered sex offender for the rest of my life. That's a huge punishment.
What do you think should happen to someone that has done what you've done? Do you agree that you've committed a transgression here?
What I did was wrong, and it was illegal. I would like probation, but I don't feel that's going to happen. I don't need to be locked away because I'm never going to do anything like that ever again.
What do you say to parents that send their children to school to get an education and their teacher has sex with them? Did they get their money's worth, their tax dollars worth? Did they get what they bargained for?
Coming up.
If he became of age and he looked you up, can you see rekindling this relationship?
If I wasn't involved with anyone else, possibly.
Who are you most upset with here?
Her answer to that question shocked even Dr. Phil.
That's the first answer that has surprised me.
Teacher Scandal Confession. A Dr. Phil exclusive continues.
What do you say to parents that send their children to school to get an education and their teacher has sex with them? Do they get what they bargained for?
No.
Is that what they send their kids to school for?
No.
Do you think that you should be punished?
Yeah.
And you think you are being punished by being a registered sex offender?
Yes. I don't want to be grouped in as a sex offender. There are, people out there who really are predators and they're forcing things, and I don't want to be grouped in with those people.
So to be sure I understand this student started flirting and complimenting you. Within a matter of weeks, you have sex with him in your classroom. You resign so you can pursue a relationship with him.
Pretty much.
You file for divorce and you do pursue a relationship with him.
Yes.
But your husband presses the issue.
Yes.
And even in light of knowing the cops are on to me, I'm clearly in violation of the law, you pursue it anyway.
Yes.
Across state lines.
Yes.
Because you think you're in love. The student ultimately flips, confesses, and now you face 6 counts of sexual charges.
Yes.
And the plea offer on the table is 10 years and a lifetime registry as a sex offender.
Yes.
And you believe that's harsh.
That's very harsh.
But you get what you've done is a transgression.
Yes.
You get it violates the trust that a teacher has to have when they take the children of a community, and this is legally a child, under their care. You violated that trust. And you say, and I resigned, but you didn't resign because you violated trust. You resigned so you could pursue the child.
If I hadn't got caught, I more than likely would have not came back the next year as a teacher. There was only about a month left of school, maybe 2 months left. Thought I'll finish the year and move on to something else.
And pursue the relationship, even though it was illegal,
Yes.
because you were so desperate for attention.
And other people have done it, and nothing happened.
You're not permitted to communicate with this student now, correct?
Yes.
If he became of age and he looked you up, can you see rekindling this relationship?
If I wasn't involved with anyone else, possibly.
Who are you most upset with here?
My ex-husband.
Why?
Because he constantly called the cops. During this whole time, he was texting me horrible things. And then when I got arrested, he started texting my mom things like, tell your pedophile daughter to have fun rotting in prison.
That's the first answer you've given me today that has surprised me. When I said, who are you most upset with, I really thought you would say you. I understand he is an annoyance here, but I truly would have thought you would have said, yeah, I'm upset with me because I made the choice to succumb to that attention. I made the choice to allow myself to be kissed. I made the choice to give in and have consensual sex with this student. I made the choice to get in that car and drive 650 miles and get in a hotel room. I made the choice to pursue a relationship with a minor, and I lost myself.
And I agree with all of that.
As you look back over this whole thing, what's your biggest regret?
Coming up.
He is a child. You did this with a child. Stupid is not a big enough word to describe what you've done here. Stupid, stupid, stupid.
Your Scandal Confession. A Dr. Phil exclusive continues.
As you look back over this whole thing, what's your biggest regret?
Ever letting it happen. I should have stopped it from the very beginning as soon as the flirting started, but I didn't.
I want to close this by giving you my opinion and assessment of what happened. Stupid is not a big enough word to describe what you've done here.
Yeah.
Stupid, stupid, stupid. I don't think this had anything to do with sex or love. I think it had to do with emotional damage. I do think you've hit the nail on the head. I think you were seriously hurting emotionally, and it made you vulnerable. And it made you see things in a distorted way. You violated a trust that was placed in you as a teacher, and I think that gives teachers a bad name, and I think teachers are some of the most dedicated, underpaid, sacrificing professionals in our entire society. It was wrong. This is just wrong. He is a child. You did this with a child, and they don't have any business being in relationships with authority figures and adults. You let your needs trump your responsibilities with him, and that's wrong, and you blew it.
I agree.
There's going to be some accountability here, and I hope you don't ever do anything like this again. You get in a situation where you're hurting that bad, then get some help, and not from a 15-year-old child. Get some help from a counselor, pastoral counselor, psychologist, psychiatrist, trusted friend. Do something different. Don't find it in that way. You're very young. You need to work this problem and get it behind you. And it may seem like the end of the world to you right now, but it's not. It's really not. The world's a very forgiving world for people that step up and own their situation and say, yeah, here's what happened, and I get it, and I'll own up to it and put it behind me, and I'm going to move on.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It seems like in most of these cases, the female teachers are at the center of these scandals and don't view themselves as sexual predators. They say they were in love with these young boys or in relationships with them, and that is just not the case. These boys are victims. They are being abused by someone in positions of power and authority. We need to be very vigilant in protecting our children and mindful of who we are trusting with their care. Now, it's really important to me that we don't let a few bad apples give the entire barrel of teachers a bad name. Because by and large, teachers are some of the most dedicated and selfless professionals in our entire society. And we owe them a big vote of confidence and a big thank you for what they do. Let's not forget that. For more information, go to drphil.com.